Torche HARMONICRAFT. You know what? We'll try the other riff. Not as loud. I'm still working on that one, though. What's up, guys? We're going to be talking about this bad boy here. It's apparently a little over 10 years. I was hoping to talk about this when it was 2012, but fortunately that's not the case. And the track you heard me try to do was Reverse Inverted from this band. They've become one of my favorites. For those who've seen me on the channel, you've already talked about their previous two albums. I never had a chance to talk about this one, though. And I did have it. Literally bought the dang thing. I had to get it because it is definitely one of my favorites from this band. And it's probably one of their easiest, probably of the albums they've had. This one is definitely for the grunge, alt-rock 90s kid in all of us to listen to. If you want to, or at least if you want a sludge and stone rock band that gets that side of, you know, the genre that captures the essence of that time in the 90s with the grunge and the alternative rock, alternative metal, and that Palm Desert scene of stoner rock and metal. They definitely capture those elements in this particular album. You even hear the elements of like some Dinosaur Jr. kind of stuff. They've cited Hum. They're the only other band outside of Death Heaven and Deftones themselves to cite the band Hum, which is up there on my thing amongst those albums to be one of my faves. Letting Go is just such a fun track. And Kick-In's pretty fun. It's just a nice little slide thing, and his vocals do make me think of the dude from Helmet, but also slightly kind of Gavin Rossdale from Bush. Just depends on how you feel about. But I think better than Gavin. Like this weird cross between Gavin Rossdale and Paige Hamilton, but in a way that's works. Hell, it wouldn't surprise me if that's inspired Gojira's frontman to sing like that on the recent album. With one of the tracks I'm trying to think of. The Chant, I believe. But yeah, Walk It Off is also super, super fun and has this nice little squealy thing, which Reverse Inverted also has comes off from that track in the beginning with a nice little octave fuzz thing going on. I wanted to do Sky Trials guitar-wise, but apparently the tuning is weirder. I guess it's an open A from what the guitar tabs tell me, but they're also known to be pretty much considered also. And yes, this album looks kind of gay. You're like, this album looks kind of gay. Well, it's probably because the dude that did the artwork for this was gay. Or is actually gay, Steve Brooks. In fact, he's made it pretty clear, and especially on this album with tracks like Kiss Me Doodly, and no, before you even ask, it has nothing to do with Lita Ford's Kiss Me Deadly. I thought that at verse 2, but that's not the case. And favorably, it isn't. In fact, a lot of these more catchier stuff have that very Dinosaur Jr. Weezer-y kind of a thing going on with it, you know. Possibly some Granny Apple Smith Husker Du that led to his other projects, Sugar, and what he would most likely do most of the time with his own solo, with Bob Mode's own solo stuff. That kind of a feel. The title track is great. Looking On is probably one of the sludgier cuts on here. Even Solitary Traveler's kind of up there, the title track is the instrumental of this. Initially, I thought Sky Trials was, because Sky Trials has this nice little before go chunky, getting in the chunks. In Pieces is definitely another one that's really chunky. Snakes are charmed. For the most part, they kind of go more in the grungy, the more stoner rock essence of their sound, as opposed to the sludge. But I feel like they find a good balance between the two here, or at least in the sense of taking that. They're very Baroness meets Mastodon, but I think they do a better job of going that more hard rockin' direction that seems to take from grunge, alternative rock, alternative metal, and even to the extents. And even to the other extents that I've said of some of the more Palm Desert stuff, um, to a degree. At least the stuff more Kayasy kind of things and stuff like that, and even having some showing some Smashing Pumpkins influence, like I said, with tracks like that. I think Skin Moth is definitely one of my favorites riff wise. Besides Sky Trials, but this overall package is just overall just fun. Steve Brooks and Jonathan Nunez, or at least more so, I think Steve Brooks and Andrew Elsner's their pairing of vocals together, especially on Walk It Off, is pretty cool. And to see here, apparently this album was mixed by Kurt Ballou of freaking Converge. So that's really awesome. Huh. Cool. Jonathan Nunez, who happens to be the one of the guys involved in the bass guitar and synth of this record, is basically sort of self-produced by the band, or at least a member of the band, and Jonathan Nunez. Uh, but they managed to get this album to be mixed by a member of Converge, which is even cooler. Further adds something to this lore of this record. And yeah, and apparently it's Santos. I wonder if he's one of the members. No, he's not. But the Santos who does this artwork, good shit. Good shit. Very, very gnarly artwork where it's basically a bunch of unicorns fighting each other. Some that seem to be thundercloud unicorns, other being rainbows. Shit. But yeah. Unfortunately, no lyrics on this thing. Apparently, if you do, you gotta look them up or something. And even I'll admit, with Kiss Me Doodly, it has some. Wow. I'm technically straight. All right. I'm a heterosexual male that mostly lives in a somewhat moderately conservative, with moderately conservative parents. Let's go with that. Or at least that's how I've somewhat was raised. At least as far as living in the Midwest is concerned. At this, I mean, for all you, most of you know, I'm apparently living in a red state at this point. I mean, because it seems none of us like the policies, certain particular policies that, especially when your vice president wants to put us back in the Viking Age when it comes to killing babies, which bothers me a little bit. I understand if you have a right, but you just shouldn't have the right to behead a baby. That's murder. But neither here nor there. I was hoping not to get political about this, but my point being, you know, I'm straight and I love this track. That was really my point. So just take some of that for what it's worth. I mean, but I just recently have a liberal girlfriend, who's definitely more open-minded about things than my parents, so I'm learning to be more open-minded. So, on top of having had friends who are as well in their own right, through my Zoom calls and stuff like that. So just no judgments here. Or if that was the case, I wouldn't have bothered to because of it. Luckily, I'm glad that they just happen to make good music, and the fact there still technically are. And I hope you give this album a chance to check it out. I think after 10 years, it still holds up extremely, extremely well, especially given the recent 90s kick that's been going on lately. This definitely will hit you in all the right ways, but with that, while still having that modern flair of what you expect from bands like Baroness, from the early essence of what was bands like Baroness or Mastodon. You know, those first two albums of theirs. I think that combination, but if they took on more of the grunge and alternative, or at least this album really does that, and it is probably the most hard rock radio ready compared to the previous the albums, especially in comparison to the albums that would follow and the previous albums for sure. Um, but yeah, and in fact, I would check out their entire discography. All their albums are worth it. Even their most sludgiest record of their debut is pretty solid as well, or at least for a sludge metal band starting out, it's pretty good. But yeah, overall, my opinions of Torche are worth. That's definitely a good band that's caught my attention, and yeah, I had fun playing this riff. I wanted to have even more fun playing Sky Trials, but you know the tuning got weird, and I didn't feel like I could tune it into that tuning. Ah. But with this one, I was able to. All you need to really do is just drop the top string to drop the low E to A, essentially. Which is a similar guitar tuning to, I believe, a certain particular Deftones song. I think Knife Party, I think, is one of the tracks that they've used that tuning on. I think there's some others. I think Thrice have kind of used it as well. So that band used the. I actually kind of like it as a tuning. I'd be hard pressed not to want to learn some drop A and E standard basically, and drop B and E standard stuff. That'd be kind of cool. Who knows? 2023 is already started, but you know, I'm still reminiscing on 2022. It's not like there's a whole lot coming out, movies or music wise that I know of. You know, I'm hearing on the Catatonia, but I'm not too sure on that myself. So, but yeah, what did you guys think of? But not so much about playing. I understand. I'm not great. I was working on it. I just learned this, like, if you cannot tell, I sort of was learning this literally minutes ago as of this video. So yeah, I hope, I'm not sure how the band will feel about this review, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully some of what I've said about this album is enough to appease your attention, maybe give it a chance. Because I did, and I don't regret it, or else I wouldn't be talking about it. So there's that. And or playing it on this nice little blue guitar here. So yeah, hopefully y'all let me know, like, what did you guys think of Torche's HARMONICRAFT or Torche in general? Leave a comment below. Let me know. Are they one of the best bands to come into, if not out of, the past decade? In terms of bands that qualify as sludge / stoner metal, and rock for that matter. Just leave a comment below, let me know. What do you like about them? All this other stuff, and as always, guys, keep it real. And I've got a couple end of the year lists I'm gonna be doing eventually. Other than that, so hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell for that. If you like this video, hit the like button, and as always, guys, keep it random, keep it real, keep it rocking. I will see you in the next video. Take care, y'all.